After training myself and my clients for over a decade, I figured out how to get such strong legs you'll feel invincible. Not just in the gym, but in real life as well. So in this video, I'll show you which exercises I think are most effective and why the squat may not be the best exercise for strong legs. But first, I'll show you the only workout you need for stronger legs. It is exactly this workout that my client Damien did to go from squats with an empty bar to 100 kilos in less than 6 months. I like to start with a seated leg curl. This gets you in the zone, it warms up your hamstrings and knees, but it doesn't take away too much energy. Then we'll do a squat pattern. In this case, I do program the barbell back squat because it's a great exercise to build overall strength. However, I'm of the opinion that it's not the best exercise for strong legs because most likely other body parts fail first before the legs are fully stimulated. But before we get into the exercise that gives you the most bang for your buck, let's continue. Next up, we'll do the leg extension. It's a great isolation exercise for your quads and is the only exercise that you can do that is heaviest when the leg is fully straightened, also called the shortened position. Then we'll do a Romanian deadlift. The Romanian deadlift is by far my favorite exercise to train your hamstrings, but it also works the lower back. The deadlift is a very heavy exercise, and so the reason I'm programming this compound exercise after the leg extension is that the body can recover a little bit from the squats. And then we'll finish off with calves. I'm going for the standing calf raise, but it doesn't really matter whether you do these standing or seated in my opinion. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the workout, let's first answer the most commonly asked question. How often should you train legs? And the truth is, if you do everything right, you can get good results with training anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week. But for most people, there's a sweet spot, where stimulus, how much growth you can get, and fatigue, how much energy it costs you, are well balanced. If you do too much, you're not able to recover properly, and so it hurts your muscle growth. But if you do too little, you're not able to get a ton of stimulus, which hurts your muscle growth. I found that the sweet spot for almost everyone is training legs twice a week. So if you train 3 times a week, a good split can be upper body, lower body, full body, or even 3 full body days, of which legs are trained twice. If you train 4 times a week, my go-to split is the upper body, lower body split. This makes sure that every body part is trained twice. So now that you know how often you want to train your legs, I'm going to show you why these exercises have gotten me and my clients the best results. Because training legs effectively isn't complicated. If you understand the movement patterns, there's only so many exercises you need to do. I want you to meet my friend Sam. It's Sam the skeleton. Sam will help you understand why the exercises I'm about to show you are the ones you need to do. Our lower body is made of 4 muscle groups: the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the glutes, and the calves. And to make a muscle stronger, we need to train it against resistance in its primary function. So when we look at the quads, the primary function is extending the knee, or in other words, straightening the leg. This is also what we call a squat pattern. A regular squat or a hack squat, a leg press, and even a leg extension do exactly this. You bend your knee, and then against the weight, you straighten your leg. Moving on to the back of the leg, the hamstring has actually 2 functions we want to target. First, it's bending the knee, which is trained doing a leg curl, both in the seated and lying variant. And secondly, the function of both the hamstring and the glutes is hip extension, which simply means pushing the hips forward. That's exactly what the Romanian deadlift does. Hip extension is the motion you use when you stand up from a bent over position. And now if we flip the RDL on its side, it basically becomes a hip thrust. This is an excellent exercise to target the glutes, but I prefer the RDL instead, as it's just as effective targeting the glutes, but it does target the hamstrings more effectively than the hip thrust does. Lastly, the calves. Many people skip training this muscle as it feels a bit useless maybe, but in the context of everyday life, like walking or even running, the calves play a very important role. Because the function of the calves is to press your feet down, or alternatively, to stand on your toes, this is exactly what you do with every step you take. To train this, we do an exercise called calf raises, which can be done both seated and standing. So now that you know which exercises to do and why to do them, I'm going to show you how to split it up depending on how many days per week you train. So if you train 3 times a week, which I think is optimal for most people, I recommend running a upper body, lower body, full body split. The lower body or leg day is exactly as I laid out earlier. 3 sets of seated leg curl, followed by back squats for 3 sets, the leg extension for 2 sets, and Romanian deadlifts for 3 sets. And you can finish it off with 4 sets of calves. For the full body day, we'll start again with the Romanian deadlifts for 2 sets, followed by 3 sets of the hack squat. The hack squat is the GOAT of quad exercises, if you ask me. It's very similar to the back squat in terms of movement pattern, but because the back is supported, you're able to push the legs close to failure without failing on the core first. Now, if you're training just once a week, you want to train your full body. So just do 3 sets of RDL, 3 sets of squat, either a back or a hack squat, followed by your upper body exercises, and I would end it with 4 sets of calves. If you're training twice per week, I suggest to do full body on both days. In that case, I would split up the RDL on one day and the squat on the other day. Complement that with a leg extension and a seated calf raise on day 1, and a leg curl plus standing calf raise on the other day. So on day 1, you have 3 sets of RDL, 3 sets of leg extensions, 4 sets of calf raise. On the second day, you do 3 sets of squats, 3 sets of leg curl, and 4 sets of the standing calf raise. If you're more advanced and training 4 times a week, the best split is the upper-lower split. You're training your upper body and your lower body twice per week. Now we can take that first template again for day 1, and this is how day 2 looks. 3 sets of lying leg curl, 3 sets of the hack squat, 2 sets of leg extension, and then we can finish that off with 4 sets of standing calf raise. Now the last piece of the puzzle is, how many repetitions do you do? The reality is, anywhere between 6 to 30 reps will make your muscle grow. But here's the rule of thumb that I like to follow. For compound movements like a squat or the RDL, aim for 8 to 12 reps. For isolation exercises such as the leg extension and the leg curl, 10 to 15 reps is my go-to. And that's it. Leg training doesn't need to be more complicated than this. But the thing is, strong and bigger legs is only half the equation. What really gives you the confidence to wear t-shirts again is getting leaner. So watch this video next, and in just 3 minutes, I'll show you how I've helped my clients lose 12 kilos so you can too.